Yeah, it's like, no,
Morning. I'm Joel Miller. I'm the interim minister here at the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. So pleased to welcome all of you who are here in person and those of you who are attending online as well. So an interesting thing happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We were trying to figure out at staff meeting why there was a guitar. It was just kind of sitting right here. It had been there a while. Months. We tuned it this morning just in case somebody wanted to play it. You know, the thing is, when you're a smaller organization, the guitar shows up. Somebody at coffee hour says, "Hey, you know about the guitar?" "No, but I think Fred over there does." You know, when you're a larger congregation, the staff spends about 25 minutes at a staff meeting going, "Wait a minute, do you think that, where was it?" And you have 4 staff people kind of trying to figure it all out. We have no idea where it came from. We never did figure it out. But after we checked with some of the worship associates and we talked with music folks, we decided we like the guitar up here. We hope you like the guitar up here. And so we just kind of put it back here, and who knows, maybe somebody will pick it up someday and start playing during a service. There's kinds of transitions that happen when you're a congregation that's growing and changing and things are happening, and there's all kinds of activities that happen. This is an exciting place to be, and I'm so pleased to welcome you this morning. And it's fun to look out on a nice, beautiful sunny day with the beautiful leaves and this amazing project with the new addition that's happening out there. So much excitement. Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning worship service.
So welcome. I'm Hazel. I serve as the trustee for the network committees, and my focus as a board member is to encourage the networks and communications with our committees. So I'm pleased to welcome you all to this morning's service. We're a spiritual community that appreciates the importance of transitions, the transitions of each generation, from birth to childhood, youth, adulthood to elder. We cherish our children, our youth, our elders, and learn to depend on each other as we grow and change. We know that cooing babies here, and sometimes even the wailing babies, will sometimes be our teachers. They'll grow up to be our activists for justice, or caring for us as we're hurt and healing, or singing or speaking to raise our spirits. We cherish our elders who've built and nurtured this spiritual home for us, and the mentoring we need from them in the wisdom of their years. So if children, youth, and families have questions about our religious education program, Nick Walwork, our Director of Religious Education, is happy to answer questions. Our new season of religious education programming has begun, and it's new and exciting. Our choir rehearses on Thursday evenings. You can find out more from our music director, Michael Rosen, about the choir. Our AV and technical director is Alex West. He does the magic in the back there. Our congregational administrator is Katie Julich. She's amazing, and she's here most weekdays, and she's happy to get your emails and to talk to you. And of course, Reverend Joel Miller is our interim minister. We have lots of more announcements in our order of service online. And I'm just going to give you a couple of highlights today. So after the service this morning, there's a Getting to Know You meeting at noon with Reverend Joel. The topic is, what exactly is Unitarian Universalism? It'll be in the parlor, and I don't think you'll actually answer the question, but at least you can start to talk about it. At 3 p.m. is game day here at the fellowship, so people of all ages are welcome to come and play some games. Next Sunday, we're hosting a trunk or treat from 1 to 3 p.m., so come in costume, have a great time, and it's not too late to sign up to have a trunk of your own to decorate. And right now, I'm going to ask Donna Perch to come up and talk to us a little bit about the service auction.
Good morning. My name is Donna Perch. Would you like to get to know more members of our community? Do you enjoy delicious meals, soups, and desserts prepared by talented chefs? Perhaps you like to hike. Or maybe an exhilarating ride in a two-seater plane sounds fun. Maybe you've been thinking, you know, I'd really like to learn to belly dance. Well, this year's service auction provides each of these opportunities and more. It's our biggest fundraiser and the core of our community social life. So now you're thinking, I've got to get in on this. What should I do next? Step 1, make a donation. Now is the time to let us know what you would like to offer in this auction. Our deadline for offerings is this Tuesday, October 24th. Please visit us in the Great Hall to tell us what you'd like to donate or to get some ideas. And if you're watching online, send a note to our email address, serviceauction@muuf.org. Step 2, sign up for an event. On Saturday, November 4th, beginning at 5 p.m., we will hold our annual kickoff party. Delicious hors d'oeuvres and beverages will be served, and you'll get to sign up for the wonderful opportunities being offered by your fellowship friends. Tickets are on sale in the Great Hall today, or purchase your tickets through the auction site. See the Wednesday email blast for a link. Don't be afraid to offer. Don't be afraid to sign up for events. You'll be happy you did. Thank you.
And if you are doing the word bingo, I know some of our children might be doing that. I want to add a word for you. You can put it anywhere on your bingo card. The word is formality. This is the time in the service when we light our chalice. I'm going to invite Sloan up now to light our chalice this morning as we together say the words of the affirmation. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And we sing now. Yes.
Number 162, going to lay down my sword and shield. Please stand if you feel so moved. Gonna lay down my sword and shield, down by the riverside. No
Y'all be seated. Can I have the kids come up? I want to talk to you guys about my favorite time of year. So come on up here. It's probably not what you think it is, but we'll see. Come on up. All right, come on up. Come on over here. All right, I know we're like all the kids are on this side. We're like a lopsided ship over here. All right, so how many people play sports? Yeah, what sport do you play, Kale? Soccer? Who else plays soccer? Anyone else? Alice, you play soccer? Any other sports that people play? This Alice does. Any other sports? No? Yeah? Baseball? Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know if you've been outside, but it is a perfect autumn day, which for me means only one sport. What sport do you think I played when I was a kid? If your last name is not Walwork, what sport do you think I played when I was a kid? Eric? Football. Give me it. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Stud. Look at that guy. I love football. And you know why I love football? Not just because you get to hit people, though I do like that. Sometimes when you're that kid and you haven't been put on the proper medication yet, you need a place to exude your energy. But what I love about football, and I played football all through high school, and the thing I love about sports in general, right? Is teamwork. So, what does teamwork mean? Anyone want to know? All right, well, here's the example. So, Harper? To work together, right? To work together for a common goal, right? So when when I played football, the thing I love about football the most is that we all had our own positions. And I played a couple different positions, but I played running back was my offensive position. I wasn't smart enough to play quarterback. Quarterbacks, they're a very intelligent bunch. They need to know all what's going on. I played running back. And guess what does the running back do when they play football? Who knows? Anyone seen a football game? What do they do? Anyone? I know. That's the crowd in here. It's in the name. They run the ball. Can you stop touching me? Okay? They run the ball. And I loved it. And so the quarterback would say, hike. And has anyone ever seen a football game here before? Yeah? Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm going to play. So you take the ball, the quarterback says hike, and he hands the ball, most of the time, to the running back. And the running back runs, and I love the most to run in the middle, right? Not around the outside. That was for the very fast running backs. I was not the fastest running back. I was the sturdiest running back. And so I ran in the middle. And what would happen is there's guys who stand on the front of it there, and they're the linemen, and they move the guys who are trying to tackle you out of the way. And what I loved about football, now, these many years later, and playing it, is that it taught me about teamwork, and that teamwork doesn't means doing your job, right? For the greater good. So when I was running back, I would take the ball, and I would hit the line, and I would make sure that my linemen moved the guys who were trying to tackle me out of the way. I didn't block the other guys. I didn't move people out of the way. I just grabbed the ball and I ran. And I didn't second-guess things. Sometimes you got to make some adjustments. But I wasn't also the blocker, although I was for other plays, but not during that play, right? And so it taught me as a teammate to trust the people who were playing with me. This is the key part, right? To trust who I was running with, right? And so if I got the ball and if our linemen didn't do their job and move the tacklers out of the way, what do you think those tacklers did?
Tackle you?
They tackled me. Yeah, it was real rough. Behind the line of scrimmage, it was awful, right? But it was up to me to trust that everyone else on the team was doing things. And here's the other thing that's really cool about it. When you join a team, you're part of the team, right? You come in, we would have new kids who would come, move into the district and stuff, and maybe they were a wide receiver, and they would catch the ball. Wide receivers catch the ball. And you would trust that they're going to do it for your team because we're all working for the same thing. Now, I didn't take a wide receiver who had been wanting to play wide receiver and be like, listen, here's how you catch the ball. Here's what you got to do. Sometimes we tell them our plays and we work together, but that's the coach's job, right? I would just take the ball and run through the hole that I trusted everyone made. Every play, that's what I would do, if that's what the play was. And being a team member means doing your job really well and trusting that everyone else is going to do their job really well. And that's what I love about sports, because they teach you those things, right? And the same thing goes in soccer and baseball and stuff, right? That you do your job. And in life, we are part of teams all the time. What teams are you guys part of, do you think, in life? That aren't sports teams, maybe. What group of people do you work together with at times? Yeah? Your family, right? Yep. Sadie, who's your sister in your family. Okay, so we're on the same page. Your dad and right? And do you guys know everything that all of your family does all your family members do in your family to make your family function? No. Do you guys know how to pay your electric bills? Or figure out your taxes? Because I don't either. Right? But we trust. How many people know how to go to the grocery store? Some of you might know a little bit better than others, right? But we trust that people are going to take care of us, right? And we do that, right? Yeah. So I don't know how to organize your art supplies, Charlotte. I trust that you will be in charge of your art supplies. Listen, we're working on that trust there. But, so, right, being part of a team means trusting that others are going to do their job. It doesn't mean doing their job for them, because you got to focus on your job. You become the best person of your task, right? I was the best running back of running through the holes. And there was guys like my little brother, who's bigger than me. He was a lineman, Uncle Dan, and he pushed people out of the way. And I trust that he would do that for me all the time, right? Being part of a team means trusting those who work with you. Not micromanaging them, not doing their job for them, but being the best person you can be and trusting that they'll be the best person they can be. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Listen, there's no faith formation stations upstairs today, so we're going to stay in here. There is bingo cards if you don't have one. I got some prizes for folks who fill them out during the sermon. What was the new word that Joel said? Well, did you write it down? What was the word?
Formality.
Formality, right? So you guys can use that if you need a little bingo. It's a free space you can put anywhere else. When he says formality, you put it down wherever you need it. Okay? Sound good? All right? And there's also activity bags and all that stuff back there. So let's go back to our seats, and we will carry on. Also, remember to sing the songs, do the prayers, and participate. It makes it go quicker.
When we come together to create community, to create the deep bonds of community, is to take the opportunity to share deeply with one another. It doesn't have to happen a moment like this in the milestones, passages, or expressions of gratitude. But it's good to remember at a moment like this how important it is that we do this with and for one another. This morning, let us remember all of the people, especially those in Ukraine, in Russia, those in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank, especially the children for whom war is a terrible experience, and all of the peoples in these lands for whom war ultimately will not bring the joy or the hopes or the lives that we are capable of and deserving of. Paul and Helene Firm share a milestone, really two milestones this morning. They share that a dear college friend, Bill Weiss of Palo Alto, California, and as well as an extended family member, Gary Torgerson of Seattle, Washington. Both of these people dear to Paul and Helene passed away last week. They're grateful to have visited and celebrated their friendships and lives just 3 weeks ago when they went out west. They're also grateful that their child, Leaf, who attended RE here in this fellowship, was in Seattle for the past 4 months, helping to provide care and bring energy and joy to Gary and Paul's sister Joyce over this time. It's quite a week, Paul, Helene. Mary Courtley writes with news and an update about Daryl's surgery. Yesterday morning, Daryl was brighter, chatting, eating well. He's walking better during the day. I nag him every hour or so to get up and take a stroll. It's sobering that this will happen for 3 months without bending, lifting, or twisting, and then likely another 3 months for total recovery. And your cards, your prayers, or your wishes for speedy and healthy recovery and healing are much appreciated. And a gratitude also to be shared today. Thanks to our volunteers, Kathy Kekavalli and Laurent Gomez, for the recent website cleanup and for posting the monthly digest on the website, and a gratitude to Bob Scott for reviewing the website content for accuracy. And I have much gratitude also for this congregation, for its passion, for its compassion, for its feistiness. And I am so grateful for what's going to be happening out there, even though I won't be here. I know amazing, wonderful things will happen out there, just as for generations, amazing, life-saving ministry has happened here. I invite you now into a moment of prayer or contemplation or meditation. Spirit of life, the world around us in turmoil. And I watch how others suffer, because there are those humans who will practice hatred, who will seek revenge, who believe violence is the only way out of their suffering. And Spirit of life, I know it could be me. Were I born in a different time or a different place? And so I remember with gratitude the deep, loving presence of my spiritual mentors, so many of them Unitarian Universalists and their congregations, and some of them Muslims, some of them Jews, some of them Buddhists, some of them Hindus, some of them atheists, and some of other religions, who too have mentored me in the way of practicing love, not hate, of not seeking vengeance, but reconciliation and connection. It's hard sometimes to remember those lessons, the gifts of peace, when seeing the pain of others. Let us, in these times, practice the wisdom, live by the deep roots of this shared faith and the shared ministries we all have. Let us live out of love. Let us live for our connections. Let us practice the ways of peace and reason. And for the sounds of our children and our youth, for the beautiful colors of the leaves, beautiful blue sky, and the possibilities we make possible for one another. Let us give thanks and say, Amen, so be it. Blessed be.
I am so honored to be president of the board this year. Our board is an absolute delight to work with, and each member brings a unique perspective and energy. 3 members join the board each year. So this year, our senior members are Jean Kraft, Social Justice, Harry Harris, Treasurer, and Carol Johnson, Secretary. Our juniors, so to speak, are Hazel Bell, Network, Dan Reedy, Strategic Planning, and myself, Paul Firm, President. And our frosh are Tim Davis in the back here, Stewardship, John Franklin, Membership, and Candace Donaldson, Treasurer-elect. Our photos are in room 100 in the front here and online, so please join me in thanking all of our board volunteers who work so hard and help our fellowship be a vibrant and growing community. Today's sermon is on shared ministry, and it speaks very loudly to our board as well. Our board work is our shared ministry, striving to ensure the fellowship runs smoothly, supporting our minister and our staff as they support us all in our spiritual, our social, our educational, our musical shared ministries. our search for truth and meaning, and our work together to build a fair and peaceful world. The board had a wonderful retreat in August where we took some time to connect, have fun, eat a lot of good food, and to focus on our goals for the year. Now, each month, we meet on the second Wednesday of the month, and we do our operational work of the board, and we keep our eyes on these main goals as well. These are important, really, and I wanted to share them with you today. First, to support our ministerial search committee. This amazing team is learning from all of us this fall, and they're synthesizing our collective passions as they search for our next called minister. It's a huge job, and this is indeed our key mission for this interim year. So, dear Ministerial Search Committee, I know you're here. Thank you. You have our full support. Second, our Gateways Team and Capital Project. I mean, right outside these windows, you can see our new addition taking shape day by day. We have an amazing group of volunteers who are guiding the building, the capital campaign fundraising, and the finances to turn our plans into reality. Our new addition will be welcoming and accessible. It'll help us live more fully into our mission. It will better welcome our newcomers and allow us to meet and break bread all together. So dear Gateways, DRWW finance teams, thank you. You have our full support. Number 3, continue our journey of policy governance. What's that? Reverend Joel complimented us last year as he joined us and saw our newly revised bylaws, something he actually didn't have to work on himself, so he was most grateful. They were approved by the congregation in 2021. Bylaws define how our board works, how our staff works, and how our congregation all work together. The board has a duty to further set policies as needed, and overall, we call this policy governance. A team of board members, John Franklin, Hazel Bell, Tim Davis, and Reverend Joel, together with Shari Lowe, who is helping out, are meeting, they're discussing, and they're reviewing our policies to help streamline and clarify how we all work together. So thank you, team. You have our full support. And fourth, helping communication flow across our fellowship. Our minister, our DRE, our music director, our committees, our RE volunteers have so much to share, and they do it in more ways than ever. It's mind-boggling. We have e-news, ministerial messages, we have special emails, we have TV monitor notices on Sunday mornings and out in the hall. We have our website, we have Realm, we have Joys and Concern cards, we have gratitude cards, and of course we have nothing less than our weekly services, which are now recorded and streamed online, and they're ready anytime to watch and rewatch. Wow, there's a lot of information, and it is so important that the board made communication flow this year its 4th main goal. And the board has decided to also add to this a bit, but hopefully adding clarity by writing at least monthly updates. We've sent, and getting these out on the e-news on a regular basis. We've shared 3 articles already covering the board retreat and the budget in a lot of detail. And Hazel Bell shared just last week her work to assemble all of these communications into what we're calling the monthly digest. This is in an accessible monthly booklet format. It offers easy printing, and it pulls all of our content directly from our moldable information sources. So now you can get your information real time from all these sources and find the same information summarized in a monthly digest available on our website. So thank you, Hazel. You have our full support as well. So again, it's just an honor to serve on the board in such an exciting year with all of this going on. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the trust you place in us. And I want to thank all of you, and I get to look at your faces right now, for all of the energy and the joy and the community that you bring each week into our spiritual home. Thank you.
There's a lot going on here. All right. So this morning's offering, it's now time for our offering. This morning's offering will be split 50-50 with Homeless Solutions. We want everyone in Morris County to be able to have a home. You can put cash or check into the offering baskets. You can contribute by the text-to-give number 73256 with keyword MUUF followed by the dollar amount. And you can also contribute online, and you can see the order of service online or on paper.
I remember when I first heard the choir sing in the congregation I was serving in 2022, and I have to admit I wept. It was so good to hear voices again. I'm so grateful for the choir, for your voices. I'm so grateful for the congregation when you all sing. You sing beautifully. In 1947, Lenore Stewart was a mom of a 4-year-old, Carl. Carl had asked her to take him to Sunday school. Lenore Stewart had told Carl, "I don't believe in what churches teach in Sunday school, so you're going to have to find someone else to take you to church." Her 4-year-old took her at face value. He started knocking on neighbors' doors saying, "Can you take me to church?" Lenore Stewart lived in Boulder, Colorado, and knew about the Unitarian church in Denver, but Denver was too far away from Boulder for regular Sunday school attendance and joining in as a member. And so she decided she would start a Unitarian fellowship in Boulder, Colorado. And in those days, there were a lot of people doing what Lenore Stewart did in 1947. 323 fellowships were started between 1946 and 1958, including this fellowship in December of 1956. These 323 Unitarian Universalist congregations became our fellowship movement. Just about doubled the number of Unitarian congregations in the United States, and it spread Unitarianism across the United States, throughout it. It had been, before that, pretty narrowly concentrated in just New England. And then, right after that, was the merger of Unitarians and Universalists. Some say it was really a merger of 3 different movements: the fellowship movement, Unitarians, and Universalists. We grew a lot in those years, the 1950s and the 1960s. Fellowships were an important part of that growth. Fellowships tended to be small. They were typically about 50 or 60 people. Often they were started in places where there was no other place where thoughtful people who wanted to practice in a spiritually practiced reason could get together. Fellowships felt good. They felt intimate. Felt like a deep sense of community was possible in a fellowship. And everybody in the fellowship had to do a kind of ministry because they typically didn't have staff. So members did Sunday services, members led religious education, members did pastoral care, members did social justice, members fixed the roofs and did the cleaning even, all volunteers. And often a lot of the volunteers, and especially the volunteer leaders, were moms like Lenore Stewart. So the thing about the experience of a fellowship was the focus was really on the relationships that the people had with one another. So to become a member of a fellowship was to join an experience rather than join an institution. So without staff, fellowships developed this important culture. We later on came to call it shared ministry. Everyone had a part to play in congregational life. Everyone had to do ministry, and it was important to share it in the way we did it, with and for one another. I look back at the history of Unitarian Universalism. I believe that the culture of shared ministry we created in our congregations, including this congregation, I believe this practice, the spiritual practice, saved Unitarian Universalism. That's a strong statement maybe, but you know, our churches in the 1950s, they were kind of stuck. They were pretty sexist. They were used to having old white male ministers running everything and pretty much telling everybody what to do. They were pretty racist, I'm sorry to say, not very good at multiculturalism. Fellowships and doing shared ministry empowered women as leaders, and our movement was transformed. We became the first, perhaps the first religious movement anywhere in which more than half of our religious leaders by the year 2000 were women or non-binary people. And this fellowship especially took the lead among congregations in welcoming a diversity of cultures and racial backgrounds. This congregation did that from the start. So fellowships and shared ministry have been important and essential to a thriving Unitarian Universalism. The thing about fellowships is that as smaller organizations with a constant flux of leadership, or sometimes some solid leadership, but then suddenly perhaps a leader had to move, or a leader had to step down as they aged, or perhaps died. Those fellowships that had strong anti-clerical feelings hadn't hired staff and didn't have a formal way to replace their leaders. In my observation, those fellowships with those strong anti-minister feelings tended to close down after about 35 years. And in my observation, congregations that figured out how to keep the spirit of shared ministry alive and at the same time call a minister created amazing ministries. And that too completely transformed Unitarian Universalism, an understanding of what ministers do and what we do as a people who call ourselves Unitarian Universalist. This is a part of the transition, I think, now that this congregation is negotiating again. There's always kind of a dialogue or a negotiation about what it means to share ministry together, especially when you have staff. When congregations, especially when fellowships began to call ministers and have staff, they found themselves growing. They often would double in size in just a couple of years. And that was a hard change because suddenly there was so much going on that a congregation, sometimes you'd have to kind of clear things through the minister, and it felt like, wait a minute, are we giving up shared ministry here? What does this mean for us? And as congregations grow, especially when they grow past a certain number, there is a transition that all congregations experience. And it's the hardest one any congregation in any religious movement anywhere on earth faces. When a spiritual community grows over 150 members and reaches 220 members and stays there, the transition is unexpectedly difficult and surprising. And what's really telling about that transition is that there are very few congregations that stay at a membership number of between 150 and 220. And there's an important reason for that. As I explain that, before I explain that reason, I just want to add, a fellowship can be a fellowship and grow very large. This fellowship is actually mid-size at just under 300 members. It's mostly made the transition from being a small congregation of under 150 to a mid-sized congregation of 300. I was the interim minister at the UU Fellowship of Corvallis, Oregon. It had 380 members when I was there. There are large fellowships in our movement that have more than 600 members. Our largest fellowship grew to over 700 members. But what happens when these congregations grow and keep their shared ministry, because they must, is that they become more formal. There's that word formality that I was talking to the kids about. A smaller congregation can just do things informally. When you have 100, 110 members, individual leaders can get a vision and think about, maybe we should add a room on to the building we just got. And, a couple conversations in coffee hour, a couple conversations in the parking lot, and a couple phone calls later, in a week or two, you can have a pretty solid consensus in a group of 100 people. Or if you really got to get into the room together to vote on it, you're about 100 people here right now. You could, over 2 hours, look at each other, talk, and figure out, okay, we're going to do this. But when you grow to over 220 members, all of that changes, and the experience of congregational life changes. You need formality when you get larger. It becomes much more difficult to figure out, where did that guitar come from? Who owns that? And you're not going to figure it out at coffee hour. In fact, you're probably going to need a staff to figure it out. And in this case, the staff couldn't even figure out where it came from. We took the trust you've given to us and decided, oh, it can stay there. It's okay. So the experience of that size gap between a small congregation under 150 and the mid-size over 220, well, the hardest part is that shift from informal to formal, from the informality to the formality. You don't have to give up shared ministry to do it, but when you're smaller, it's just simpler to organize things. The building schedule is simpler. Basically, people can take a pencil and sign on the calendar in the fellowship office. When you're 220 or 300 or 600, you have to have a staff person manage it because it takes a lot of care and attention. What happens when you start to grow over that 180 is things get a little stressful because you're used to kind of the informal conversations about, oh, let's build an annex. And when you're smaller, though your leaders can have all of those conversations together, but when you get to about 220, one person can't manage it alone. People don't get included in the conversation. Feelings get hurt. Decisions are made and votes happen, and not everybody's had their voice heard. At over 220, things start to look more like that football team that Nick Walwork, our religious educator, was talking about. People start to get into specific ministry tasks and pay attention to certain things. So that formality becomes essential in a larger congregation, whether it's mid-size or large. And that's why I actually printed for you. It came both in this morning's Sunday update, but it's in the order of service. It's right under the announcements, the interim mission statement. All of a sudden, you don't want the informality of, oh, we think this is our mission right now. And you can do that in a smaller congregation. But in a larger congregation, if you really want to hear the voice of the people, it takes some time to process what that looks like. Your board wrote this interim mission statement because it drew the sense of mission out of the work you did with your strategic plan a year and a half ago. And the voices of the congregation, the voice of the congregation spoke through that. I've heard about that process. It sounds like it was a really good one, a thoughtful one. And when you're in a larger congregation, that mission statement becomes an important North Star, even, a kind of guide as to where you're going. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. As I said, the wisdom of the fellowship movement was and is shared ministry, and it changed Unitarian Universalism. It's what new people visit when they're visiting Unitarian Universalist congregations today. They're looking for something in which a spiritual practice in which the minister just doesn't get up and say, here's what you're going to believe, and here's what you're going to do about it. We don't do that. I would never do that to you. We talk as a people about what are we called to do? Who are we called to be? And the world is looking for that, especially in a time of populists and authoritarians. So I was so pleased when Paul Firm was able to share this morning the four main goals of the board, because it is a spiritual practice. It is, in a sense, a part of worship to understand how our board is assessing what needs to happen for the well-being of this congregation in this program year. And they are guided by the goals of shared ministry. They and I feel a deep commitment to this essential spiritual practice of this fellowship. And as Paul Firm described, that third goal is a kind of formality that we're calling policy governance? How do we bring a formality to how you do things as a people so that our ministries are all empowered, and so that, well, like on a football team, we know where we can be doing our part so the larger team can, well, if you're in a football game, win the game, get the ball down the field, or if you're a congregation, so that the people who long for us or whose lives we can save, they will experience us. They'll be connected to us. They'll be caught by us spiritually when they need us. Formality is hard because, well, truth in advertising, what happens is as a congregation gets larger, we delegate more decisions. And we don't, each of us as individuals get to have an opinion on everything anymore. Well, you can have an opinion on things, but sometimes, well, you have your opinion on things and the decision's been made and it's meeting the mission of the congregation and it's a good decision legally and in care of the relationship to everybody else in the congregation. And could it have been better? Probably. Is it good enough? Most likely. Maybe the polite thing to do is take a little breath and go, should I join the committee so it will be a better decision next time? Or can I just live with this? One of the things that kind of came up for me as I was thinking about how can I explain this transition that congregations are always making this kind of transition. We long for the intimacies of smaller congregations, but we also long for the powerful ministries that larger congregations can have, the big difference larger congregations can make. For every person who's a member of a Unitarian Universalist congregation in the United States, there are two people who long for something. They don't know what it is, but when they find out about us, they want to be a part of us. And you in your strategic plan, you in your incredible commitment to build this annex are reaching out to those people who long for you. It's impressive, and it's deeply meaningful. And as you continue to grow to, say, a 450-member congregation, which I think you will with this annex, I think you will with your passion and your compassion, well, you'll discover that one of the bigger differences is kind of like that Rolling Stone song. You know, it goes, you can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you might just find you get what you need. That was a bad Mick Jagger impression. I'm sorry. And it is good to ask for what you need, which is actually why Hazel and I started talking, and then the board started talking about the monthly digest, because folks said, no, I need this. And it's reasonable to go to your congregation and say, I need something. Be kind about how you go and ask. Be thoughtful about how complex that can be sometimes, and give us time. Give your leadership time. And I want to come back to the mission statement. I passionately believe in shared ministry, and I passionately believe that the voice of the people of a congregation have to be the guide for a minister especially that leads a congregation. My hope is, as a minister, I don't want to be doing the ministry. I want to be empowering the ministry of the people of the congregation. You have to do the ministry. And that is the other thing that people who long for Unitarian Universalism are looking for. They don't want to just pay some guy to go off and do ministry for them. They want to be the ministry their lives are called to be. They want to be connected to that love they think is possible in the world. And they want to see a community doing it. And I see you doing it. I see you planning for it, investing in it. I talk to my colleagues, some of whom were very interested in this congregation, I must say. Impressed by your commitment, impressed by your record for caring for one another, and your love for this community and for each other. And they too understand that they would not come here to tell you what your mission is, to tell you why you exist and what you are called to do about it, but to help you as a people find that calling, find that sense of mission together as you talk with one another. And as a larger, mid-sized congregation, you do that. It takes a couple of months. You talk, your board listens to what you say. They write a draft of a mission statement. They present it back to you, and you as a congregation can go, oh yeah, that's it. Or you can go, no, not it. Do it again, board. And that's how it works when it's larger. You just can't get into the room together as 100 people in wordcraft. Actually, I never think it worked that well, even with 100 people, to be honest. I would never want to be telling you what your mission or your vision is. I want to be empowering you to do yours. And I know, as I look at you, as I hear you sing, as I watch you caring for one another, as I watch you commit to the future for generations, as I watch the way in which you make space for your children and your youth, you're going to continue that ministry of love, that practice of sharing ministry that sets an example for the world. I'm excited for your future. It won't always be easy. You may not always get what you want, but you will get what you need. And by doing that, you will meet the needs, the longings, and the hopes for so many other people in this community. I am grateful for you. Keep on being feisty, Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Let's sing together. We have one last song here.
Glory, 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 hallelujah. Please stand if you feel the Spirit. Glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burdens down, feel like shouting, hallelujah, I feel like laying my burdens down, I feel like shouting, hallelujah, since I laid life is sweeter. Feel like dancing, hallelujah. Feel like dancing. I laid my burdens down. First verse, glory, glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burdens down. Hallelujah, since I laid my
Beautiful fellowship. I am so grateful for you, and there are so many who are going to be grateful for the commitment and love that you practice, that you share with one another. Keep on sharing that ministry. Keep on going out and saving lives and making this world a better place, starting every Sunday or however you connect. Go in peace, be in peace. We'll be here again next week and through the week. Thank you.